It is Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Pearson Bowen. This is the CBC Morning Report. Some 1,500 jobs could be created through Barbados and Rwanda establishing links in a pharmaceutical agreement. Prime Minister Mia Amartley and the delegation returned home last evening, and she held a media conference at the Grantley Adams International Airport. She said Cave Hill graduates could find opportunities as they look at the production of cancer treatments and vaccines. There are several regulatory requirements which need to be put in place, but the work has started.
The biggest game changer since we have come to office is about to unfold. And we've been working on it very quietly for since April, so that's what, last 6 months or so. And that is addressing the issue of pharmaceutical equity and creating a platform for jobs, investment and earnings for a pharmaceutical industry in Barbados for the first time. I'm not sure if people understand how complex it is to establish the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. First and foremost, the regulatory framework is extremely complex. And that is the first thing that we will be engaged in over the course of the next 9 to 12 months or so. But without prejudice to that, through cooperation with Rwanda and President Kagame, with the European Union, and President von der Leyen herself came to the event, the European Investment Bank, President of the European Investment Bank himself, President Hoyer, came to the event. The President of Guyana, because Barbados and Guyana have to do it together. No single country can do it alone. In the case of Africa, it is Rwanda and Ghana doing it there, and the groundbreaking for them took place in June of this year. And of course, the Director General of the World Health Organization, whom we know well in Barbados now, Dr. Tedros, who has helped us out tremendously through the WHO in the last 2 years, and the head of the Susan Buffett Foundation, who is also interested in being able to assist us with respect to boosting our capacity to be able to manufacture pharmaceuticals.
Rwanda also offered ICT opportunities, and Foreign Minister Kerry Simmons spoke about opportunities for training young people at the Carnegie Mellon University.
Masters of Science programs where they are doing robotics, where they're doing coding, where they're doing artificial intelligence. As you just heard Prime Minister say, we have 6,000 graduates who come out of the University of the West Indies with science qualifications every 5 years. But again, we need now to translate that into concrete commercial opportunity, concrete economic development opportunity for these young people. And the arrangement that we are trying to put in place and have had meaningful discussion with the Carnegie Mellon University in Rwanda is to have Barbadian students being able to go up there in order to participate in the training at that campus so as to put themselves in a position where they can qualify in artificial intelligence and robotics and those kinds of studies.
In reporting the successes of COP27, Prime Minister Motley said the climate financing negotiations were the most difficult ever. She said citizens have to realize that promises for climate financing have been made to regions for years, and that's why the Bridgetown Agreement is key.
There have been discussions on this issue of loss and damage since 2016 with the Paris Agreement. That is when small island states were promised, come on board with the agreement, you get loss and damage funds among other things. You get $100 million in adaptation funds. Well, neither of the two developed. But in the meantime, we are facing the consequences of the crisis year by year by year. And therefore, the discussions in Egypt centered around that as it relates to the Bridgetown initiative specifically. And I really do hope that members of the media will take time not just to report that I speak about a Bridgetown initiative or that others will speak about it, but to educate Barbadians about it, because it is there. And people need to understand that, and I spoke to some of it in my Mandela speech on Saturday, that these are things that are going to make the difference, Wendy, to whether your boys are going to have an opportunity in this country to be able to do the things that the government would want for them to do. But if the government is spending all its money trying to recover from a hurricane or a flood every few months, or a drought, there's going to be no money left back to do the other things that are part and parcel of the development process. And the Bridgetown Initiative is simply about recognizing that we need to resolve the financing issues, because without that, you can kiss it all goodbye.
When quizzed about the possible sale of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, the Prime Minister said the sale or partnership in the station will not be kept a secret.
I haven't taken a brief on it. Suffice it to say that we put out expressions of interest twice since being in government. The first one led to nothing 2-3 years ago. We did it again a couple months ago. I think they're down to 2 bidders that they were in negotiations with. Because of the fact that it is a technical team negotiating, I'm not in a position to give you any statement as to where the negotiations are specifically, or whether they've recommended anybody to the line ministry yet or not. But suffice it to say, this is one case where you can't sell it in private. This is a case, as my father reminded me many years ago, when I was a teenager, you can hide and buy land, but you can't hide and work it. So the sale will have to be made known to the country.
Well, coming up on the CBC Morning Report, the war in Ukraine has spilled over into neighboring Poland.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affairs segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next.
NATO and the United States are investigating what is being called concerning reports that Russian missiles were responsible for a deadly explosion in Poland near the border with Ukraine.
In Europe, reports of 2 Russian missiles, possibly Russian missiles, going astray perhaps during the wave of attacks, an enormous wave of missile attacks across this country during the course of the afternoon, hitting energy infrastructure. 2 of them, it appears, falling on Polish soil and killing 2 people. President Zelensky essentially saying there, look, I've been warning about this sort of thing for months now, that this is not and never was a war that could be contained solely within Ukraine's borders, that the chance existed every day that it would spill over and envelop other countries and other territories, and so it has. He uses those words, collective security, as a signal, a trigger to NATO, that he wants NATO to respond. And indeed that message picked up by his foreign minister, Dmitry Kuleba, who said that collective response to Russia's actions must be tough and principled. It must begin immediately with a full meeting of NATO, including Ukraine, to discuss next steps. And specifically, he wants those next steps to include much greater weaponry for air defense, They have, of course, received huge amounts of military equipment and aid, the Ukrainians, since the beginning of this war. But the one thing they feel they could do with more of is air defence equipment. They've got very sophisticated surface-to-air missiles. They were very effective during the course of this afternoon, shooting down some 70 of the 90 or more rockets and missiles that were fired. But they'd love planes. They'd love planes to be able to prosecute a no-fly zone here. He asked for F-15s and F-16s. And that's the one thing NATO has been most cautious about supplying, because logistically and technologically it requires close NATO support, and they don't want to be seen as coming into or seen as being in direct conflict with Russia. Mr. Zelensky will calculate now that this is a moment of maximum opportunity to strengthen NATO's collective support for Ukraine and potentially go further and supply the weaponry, the air equipment, the jets and planes that he's been asking for since the beginning of the war.
Meanwhile, Russia has pounded Ukraine's energy facilities with its biggest barrage of missiles yet, striking targets from the east to west and causing widespread blackouts.
It was one of the largest missile barrages yet to be unleashed, hitting targets across Ukraine an hour before dark. This was a residential building in central Kyiv, one of two struck not far from the presidential administration.
I know the strikes disabled our electrical grid in many cities of our country. We are working, we'll restore everything, we'll get through everything. Glory to Ukraine.
The Ukrainian government believes more than 90 missiles were launched at targets in 10 regions and up to 12 cities.
Our air defense took out 70 rockets, but unfortunately 15 rockets hit energy infrastructure.
As city official after city official reported explosions, it became clear that, not for the first time, Ukraine's ability to produce and distribute electricity was under fire. Cities in the north, south, centre and west reported partial or total blackouts. The National Energy Company described the situation as critical. These attacks then a sequel to a wave of weekly strikes in October ahead of what for many will be a crippling winter. Well, if the object of this wave of strikes was to hit critical infrastructure and further pressurise the national grid, it's clearly working. Look at that, an emergency operation taking place at the site of one of the strikes here in Kyiv. With the exception of a spotlight driven by a generator, it's taking place in almost total darkness. Petro Romanchuk described the moment his building was hit, killing a neighbour he knew well.
We saw the flame, then the explosion happened. Glass shattered and smoke-filled apartments. The neighbour, we constantly met her. The building was very neighbourly. They say she died.
Tuesday's attack comes days after Russia's humiliating withdrawal from the southern port city of Kherson. It also coincides with the G20 meeting in Bali, where leader after leader called for an end to the war. Russia's answer, with 7 million Ukrainians now said to be without power, is clearly no.
Well, when you join me at 6:30 for today's edition of Morning Barbados, the police service needs you. We'll be sharing with you the recruitment process and what are some of the benefits in joining our police service indeed. How much can you make with a start of $20? We'll meet 3 young people who can say to you today, yes, you can make much. So look out for that as well. Data protection in the workplace. What is HR's role? We look at that when we talk HR with Hermap and a whole lot more at 6:30 when you join me for Morning Barbados. This is the CBC Morning Report. We're back in just a moment.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up.
Q family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
Q in the Community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Scrape the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next. And follow us on Facebook.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
The findings of a public opinion survey on crime will be released this morning during a webinar hosted by the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit as part of its Crime Awareness Month of activities. Criminologist Kim Ramsey is a senior researcher with the Planning Unit.
The public opinion survey gives the criminal justice officials a general idea of the views of the public, and these views are important in helping us to shape policy and develop programs. Tomorrow we're going to, coming out of the survey, we're going to look at issues like the fear of crime, the views on the death penalty, the measures that the public take to protect themselves from crime, their views on the crime fight, how they measure the work of the police and other criminal justice professionals, and more importantly, we're going to be looking at the recommendations on how to fight crime coming from both the public and as well as the recommendations from the Criminal Justice Department.
That webinar is at 10:30 this morning. Barbados representative at a recent major assembly, MP Edmund Hinkson, says trade and trade-related issues were of the major areas discussed, especially as it relates to Barbados being included on grey and black tax-related lists. In an interview with CBC News on the recent Joint Parliamentary Assembly in Maputo, the MP said he co-rapporteured a session on the issue of uncooperative tax jurisdictions and money laundering and anti-terrorism financing. He says the point was made that it was developed countries that urged sugar-dependent countries like Barbados to pivot towards international business and international financial services. However, he says we are now being placed on these lists by the EU and the OECD in circumstances where the vast majority of money laundering is actually occurring in European and North American countries.
Especially over the last 15 odd years, we have been hindered by being placed on grey list, on black list, on being written up, on suffering reputational damage, being perceived as tax evaders and places where criminals can hide their money, and this is not so.
He says Barbados and other countries have been consistently complying by changing legislation and policy where the OECD and other entities require.
But it always seems as if the European Union is shifting the goalposts whenever we seek to comply. What we're calling on is more cooperation in this area. Let's dialogue more. It can't be a case where we come off of grey or black lists by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, which comprises many European Union countries and the FAFT list, but we remain on the European Union list because that is what a resolution of the European Union has mandated.
Now to this really nice story. An 11-year-old South African boy's dream was realized when he got the opportunity to meet Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley recently. Ms. Motley was in South Africa where she delivered the 20th Nelson Mandela Lecture. The young author, Romario Valentine, who has been writing a book called Protect Our Planet, is a climate change activist. Valentine has called Prime Minister Motley his climate warrior.
I did want to say one thing about Mia Motley that I wrote down myself. I wanted to say I admire Madame Prime Minister Mia Motley for a confidence she transcends. She uses a positive light to promote the need for opportunities for all, to empower the youth through education, to help elevate them further, and for the protection of the environment to address the effects of climate change. She is a champion of the earth and encourages us all to be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud.
Barbadian recording artist Amanda Reefer is now a Grammy-nominated artist. The 31-year-old songstress and composer's name appeared on the list of Grammy-nominated nominees released yesterday. Reefer, the former lead singer of popular Barbadian band Cover Drive, was featured on Kendrick Lamar's song Die Hard, which was released back in August. That song, which has been nominated for Best Melodic Rap Performance, was the third single from Lamar's fifth studio album, Mr. Morale and Big Steppers. It peaked at number 5 on Billboard's Top 100 charts and has been nominated in the category alongside Beautiful by DJ Khaled, Wait For You by Future, Jack Harlow's First Class, and Big Energies by Lato. 6 children have been murdered so far for the year in Trinidad and Tobago. Many more were injured after being caught in the crossfire of gunmen. Advocates believe the unwritten code that gave the elderly, women and children a form of protection no longer exists.
In a long time when them gunmen go and do the stupidness or whatever and the children and family, they would have still wait and hold back. You know, and say, well, you catch them alone or whatever thing, but like people don't really care again.
A broken protocol that cost 3-year-old Nazim Owen and 9-year-old Jamal Modest their lives. According to the police, 6 children have been murdered for the year so far. 5 boys and 1 girl. The girl, Mackenzie Hope Rashaya, was strangled by her mother back in August. But if you take a look at the last 10 years, the numbers are higher. In 2013, 25 children were murdered. Criminologist Dr. Wendell Wallace said after the year 2000, criminals changed.
There was an unwritten code that women, the elderly, and children, they would remain untouched.
Back in 2009, after 10-year-old Tasia Henry was strangled to death, a community order in her name was organized by warring gangs in Laventille. The peace accord ended less than a year later. Dr. Wallace said this generation of criminals seem to have no respect, care or empathy for anyone but themselves.
So children in their minds are simply collateral damage. They do not care if you have a child or if you have women in the midst, if they are looking for someone.
He believes that the criminals today are much younger and are trying to prove a point. That was also confirmed by the Strategic Services Agency report for 2021.
World leaders have condemned Russia's war in Ukraine as they gather for a tense Group of 20 Nations meeting in Bali. As the 2-day summit opened on Tuesday, Indonesia, the host country, made a plea for unity despite rifts within the G20 over the conflict.
As world leaders meet in Bali, they were greeted by a leader who usually shies away from global diplomacy to focus more on issues closer to home. Now, as the war in Ukraine takes its toll on the global economy, including developing countries like Indonesia, Joko Widodo took his place on the world stage with a warning for his fellow leaders of the G20.
Being responsible here also means that we must end the war. If the war does not end, it will be difficult for the world to move forward.
It's the first time the group has met since the Russian invasion. And as many countries around the world struggle with rampant inflation and rising food and energy costs, many say the two crises cannot be separated.
We've got chaos in energy markets. We've got issues in food security. You know, clearly the Russian aggression in Ukraine is the source of that, or most of the source of that.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the leaders virtually, appealing to them to work towards extending a deal which allows grain and other food commodities blocked at Ukrainian ports by Russian ships to be exported. The original arrangement is set to expire in coming days.
I believe our export grain initiative deserves an indefinite extension, no matter when the war ends.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is not attending the summit, sending his foreign minister in his place.
All problems are with the Ukrainian side, which is categorically refusing negotiations and putting forward conditions that are obviously unrealistic and do not correspond to the situation.
The host of the summit, Indonesia, has repeatedly called for unity throughout its G20 presidency in the hope members can focus on the global economic recovery rather than what divides them and put aside tensions for the sake of the people they represent. In a meeting with the French leader, China's President Xi Jinping said the world has entered a new period of turbulence and transformation. It's a message that has been echoed throughout this month of diplomacy in Asia. While most leaders can agree the world faces many challenges, achieving consensus on how to navigate those difficulties is where their differences lie.
A look at sports now. The Barbados Football Association has finally filled the position of head coach of the men's team. Anne-Marie Burke has that story.
There's a new man at the helm of the men's national senior football team. Orlando Da Costa is the new head coach, as announced by the BFA in a press conference at their headquarters in Wilde. Da Costa, who is a 25-year-old veteran in coaching in his homeland Portugal and across Europe, also holds a bachelor's degree in sports and physical education with a master's degree in sports psychology. When asked what he will bring to the job, Da Costa says it's pinned on 4 principles: playing with heart, good etiquette, good organization, and passion.
At the same time, I can say that we are here with our soul, our heart, to increase a newer mentality, winning mentality, to increase the football, to try to create a game model philosophy based in our ideas. It is very important in the future for our players to believe in ourselves, believe that they can win anywhere, but to play and winning anywhere against any opponent team, we must play at top level, we must play as a brave, we must play with winning mentality, we must play with a good game model, we must play as a team.
He'll be joined by fellow Portuguese national Ricardo Fernandes as the new assistant coach, as Barbadian-born and former UK-based player Emerson Boyce remains as the technical director. Da Costa and Fernandes' first official games in charge will be in the CONCACAF Nations League in March of next year. With over 300 applicants from around the world bidding for the coaching position, BFA President Randy Harris said it was a tedious process that was guided by what they set as ideals for the national team.
We were very methodical. We took our time and searched for coaches who have a history of development, working with people who play football at our quality and above, and have made a big difference after they have left. In these coaches from Portugal, we think we hit the right spot in getting the right quality of coach that we need in Barbados at this time.
The new coaches will be on an initial 1-year contract with a possible extension based on a performance review.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Let's take a look quickly at the weather conditions as recorded earlier at the Met Office of the Grant Lee Adams International Airport. 26.4 degrees Celsius under fair conditions at the moment in Barbados. The humidity is 80%. The barometer reads 1012.8 millibars. The winds, however, are coming from the east at 22 kilometers an hour. Expect a low tide at 18 minutes to 4 this afternoon, a low high tide at 10:32 this morning, and again at 9:27 tonight. Seas today are predicted to be moderate in open water, swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters and steady. In the forecast, Barbados today, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light to moderate showers. While in the forecast for Barbados tonight, a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light to moderate showers. A look now at some forecast conditions for international cities. And that's it for today's edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Indeed, good morning to you today, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday the 16th of November 2022. I'm Pearson Bowen, welcoming you all over the world. Thank you so much for joining us on our streams on YouTube and Facebook and our website. Great having your company indeed. Now, coming up today, in 2023, Zimbabwe will be hosting the Pan-Africa Congress. Who's going? We will tell you why Barbadians should be a part of it. The alumni of the Harrison College and Queen's College have come together just ahead of a big education conference, and they're looking at a whole host of very interesting subjects. They'll join us this morning to tell you about the conference and how you can be a part of it. It's a two-day activity. As NIFCA continues, today we'll look at the work of the creative and visual artists as they've been out and about creating murals, and also we look at that project and the workshops they've had recently. Data protection in the workplace as well, and what is HR's role? We're talking HR with Hermab in just a little bit. How much can you really make with $20? All that and a whole lot more. There are 3 young people today who are going to say to you that they can make a lot, and they'll share their journey and their success as well. Let's get started today by talking a little bit about the recruitment process at the Barbados Police Service. And as we do so, I want you to take a look first at what it's all about, and then we'll talk to them about the recruitment.
The Barbados Police Service is a dynamic organization which caters to the needs of all residents by providing excellent customer service within our communities. We are excited to inform you that we are recruiting new members to our ranks and welcome your participation.
We are building the Barbados Police Service within our communities. Are you smart, skillful, motivated, ambitious, reliable, and talented?
Smart to fulfill your life's dream.
Smart to chart career opportunities.
Smart to make a difference.
Smart to pursue economic sustainability.
Smart to enable change.
Smart to provide public service.
I say to you today, if you have a love for people, if you enjoy nurturing your communities and taking care of persons, then definitely the Barbados Police Service, of which I am a proud member, is the place for you. So I encourage you, lend us a hand, join us now to help keep Barbados safe.
Come join us, join me in making our country a safer Barbados.
Your place is here in the Barbados Police Service.
Come, join our ranks and chart a career of economic sustainability. Make that difference as an agent of change while providing public service as you fulfill your life's dream.
You just heard that right there and then. How can you be of service to your fellow man? Indeed, and that's through the Barbados Police Service. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about this recruitment drive is Inspector Rodney Innes, who is the officer in charge of communications and also heads the Public Affairs Department of the Barbados Police Service. Inspector Innes, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Looking at that, it looks as if the police service is such an exciting place to work, and you get to see the breadth of different areas in which one can serve.
Well, yes, you said it looks as if we can confirm it's a wonderful place to work. The Barbados Police Service, formerly the Barbados Royal Barbados Police Force, we have some dynamic work strategies. Is a good organization. I myself have been involved in the organization for 31 years now, and I don't regret a day of it. It's certainly a good place in the public service to work. And as you said in your opening remarks, if you are a person who is committed to duty, who wants to do well for society and your family and people around and wider Barbados, this is the place to be.
Yeah, Barbados needs you. And the opportunities that one gets from being a part of the Barbados Police Service are truly tremendous. One can only describe it as such. The training, the level of training that obtains to be a part of the service is beyond recognition and beyond comparison. Joining us also is Antonio Fort, who is the Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for change management and technology services. You hear all of that, Antonio, and you think, in the police service, technology, and so therefore the modern force today is vastly different from the force of 1960s, for instance. We get to Antonio in just a moment. Are you with me now? Sound your voice. Antonio, I think you've muted yourself. Don't do that. We will mute you from here so that you don't have to try to do... there's... I think I hear...
My apologies.
That's all right.
Thank you, Pearson.
That's all right. You don't do anything. We'll do everything for you, okay? Now,
God bless you.
So
God
talk
bless
to me
you,
about the changes in the force and why and how in today's world this force is so relevant.
Yes, well, thank you, Pearson, and good morning to our viewers. And I want to say firstly, it's really a privilege to be afforded the opportunity really to make such an appeal on behalf of the Commissioner of Police and the Senior Command Team, as well as the rank and file. And I'm indeed thankful to the management of CBC for this opportunity. Yes, I believe it is critical at this stage for such an intervention. The organization really is an establishment has an establishment of 1,530 persons, and our current strength is 1,221 persons, so that provides a significant deficit. But this is a time when we are looking at a global change in terms of technology. The government of Barbados also has indicated its commitment to making the public sector technologically savvy. That has been plugged by our own PM. And we don't want to be left out. We want to be ready and current. And we have afforded not only our internal customer, which is our officers and ourselves, but we want to provide such a partnership with the community that we serve. And this, to me, is a perfect opportunity. And I listened to my colleague, Inspector Innes, and this is pretty much a segue to what we are offering to members of the public, both men and women, or males or females.
A lot of time mothers' hearts beat hard when they think of the police service. They think it's such a dangerous job to get involved in. But there's so many other areas of service within the police service that one can serve. You don't necessarily have to be at the beat. You can be, as you just said, in technology. You could be doing forensics. You could be doing so many. Give us a sense of the breadth of skill sets and scopes that one can have while being a part of the Barbados Police Service.
Well, there are a significant amount of areas that allow for such participation. And a few of them are the Barbados Police Band, the Police Command Center, the Operations Command Center, the Tactical Response Unit. We have the Forensics Criminal Investigations Department. You have areas of investigation, cybercrime, special branch, command center, the operations control. There's several areas that will require certain skills and certain competencies, but all of them, once you apply, we bring you in with maybe your basic skills, but you go through the Regional Police Training Center, and you'll be afforded opportunities really to sharpen those skills. And once you have linked perhaps in your development in a specific area, because we believe that you do bring some skills to us as well, we will assign you to an area where you will reach your full potential.
And so, Inspector Innes, you know, the recruitment process, how challenging or easy truly is it?
But I don't work directly in recruiting, but we've been around sufficiently enough to interact with them. We've had a number of persons expressing interest over the years, both male and female. There's a long process that you do go through from the time of application to the time of acceptance and being sworn in to go to the Regional Training Center. For obvious reasons, we have persons we have to vet persons. We have to make sure that they're physically fit to be in service, because as you can expect, a police officer's job is quite demanding, and it's becoming more and more demanding daily in the society in which we live. So the process is quite tedious, it's quite comprehensive, and as we say, we have more people applying. Everyone isn't successful for various reasons, but what we are trying to do is encourage a lot more persons to apply to the process and come over and join us in our rank and file of service.
Is there a timeline now on applications? Do you want applications in by a particular period at the moment?
No, we don't have a specific period. It's an ongoing process. Certainly, if you have not met the time frame to be vetted and go through everything and qualify for a process of training at the Regional Police Training Center, it's an ongoing process. So if you miss the first boat, you will certainly be placed in a position to be, captured in the second group. Mm-hmm. So it's an ongoing. We don't have a deadline, but we're certainly encouraging both males and females, those persons who are interested. If you're curious to come and present yourself, we will welcome you once you're suitably qualified.
And part of that suitable qualification is that you must be between the ages of 19 and 35, at least have 3 CSE certificates, general proficiency, grades 1 to 3, a Commonwealth citizen, and of good character. And all of this you can find on the GIS website, or you can collect those application forms from the police headquarters at Roebuck Street. I really hope that young people... Go ahead.
Sorry, Pearson. Additionally, you can now also get those applications through the police Facebook. This is TBPS Facebook as well as TBPS website. You can obviously also come to the Barbados Police Service headquarters, where you have hard copies that made available to you, and this should allow you to have easy access for the application process.
Right. If you see yourself in service to your country, to your fellow man, the Barbados Police Service is it for you. If you see yourself seeking to advance your career in also many areas, from the law right the way through in technology, the Barbados Police Service is for you. TBPS, the website, and on social media. There are places you can go to get more of the applications, and you can also go to the GIS website. You must be between 19 to 35 years old, must have 3 CSE certificates, general proficiency 1 to 3, grades 1 to 3, Commonwealth citizen, and be of good character. All of that is required, but you are needed. Barbados needs you today to step up and be recruited indeed for the Barbados Police Service. Wear the uniform with pride and continue to represent our country well. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really do hope you have a flood of applications really to join the force, and I really want to encourage as many young people, those of you who fall within that catchment age, to come forward and be of service to our community by joining the Barbados Police Service. Antonio Fort, Assistant Commissioner of Police, and Inspector Rodney Innes, the officer in charge of communications, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us, Chris.
You're welcome. We'll take a break right here on Morning Barbados. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
When disaster threatens, it is comforting to know there's a team working to deliver credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. A team that is committed to serving you. A team that will be there before, during, and after the disaster. That is Team CBC, here for you this hurricane season.
This week on the CBC Independent Film Festival.
This Star Beijing, we proudly present Light Lenses Lasting Impressions, a Ronnie Carrington retrospective.
Saturday from 9:03 p.m. So get your snacks.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
13 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock. It's always what you do with the little that you have. And so these three young people who we'll meet just now have taken the little they had and they've done so much because they've stepped forward to be a part of the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation's big challenge, that $20 challenge. And so we're getting ready for a pop-up market soon. And joining us to talk a little bit about their journey thus far is Edward Charles, Aidan Charles, and Kiosha Lane. Good morning to each of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much and success on your businesses. Edward, I'm going to start with you. Your business is called Bajan Naturals. And so in 2020, you were the Micro Enterprise of the Year winner. Talk to me a little bit about what you did then.
Well, that would have been around the time I would join the $20 challenge for my school. And honestly, winning the Micro Enterprise of the Year was really amazing to me, especially since my brother had also won an award. I just feel like it was kind of almost a sense of relief that I actually did win something.
You created something called Bajan Naturals with your $20. How were you able to make that $20 stretch to the point where you have a fledgling business now?
Well, I had actually started my business before it was my turn to join the $20 challenge because I had seen Aidan doing it and I wanted to experience that. But I had already had a business started, so it was, I guess, a little easier for me to make my $20 stretch, but it was still difficult in the sense that I needed to connect with customers and communicate and actually make my products appealing. And then when it was my turn to start the $20 challenge, I had to learn to make soap from scratch because originally I was just using melt and pour soap bases. So I had to step it up for the $20 challenge.
It up, you
So-
did. You were the Micro Enterprise of the Year winner for 2020-21. Aiden, you now, because Edward was watching you, he liked what he saw about what you were doing. And in 2016, you were the winner of the Innovation in Health and Culinary Arts. Let's talk a little bit about what you did with your $20.
So initially with my $20, I realized that for trial and error purposes, it wasn't really going to be enough. But thankfully, I had my mother who had encouraged me to, funny enough, go into debt initially. So with that money that I took on a loan from her for trial and error, along with assistance from my brother as well and my grandmother, we decided we're going to initially start off with some recipes that we can make for ourselves, look at some old cookbooks that we might have in the family, go on, try to reincorporate some stuff that we could have, bought in the stores, and then initially make that back and pay back that loan bit by bit. Sadly, my mother was a little bit too realistic with the loan rates, so that did take a while to pay back. But in the end, I do believe that I created a product that not only fit a problem in Barbados at the time, but also that I was very incorporated with myself.
Bajan Essentials, which is a food and beverage business, from the family's recipes. So you were quite smart in being able to use what you've always been using to do something else out of it. And Kiosha, what about you? Because you were also a big winner. So talk to me a little bit about that. You've now become an ambassador for the $20 challenge.
Yes, please. My journey was fun because we came together, we brainstormed, we had to do some decision making. We had to come up with some action plans so that our business would pick up and kick off. This was our first time doing it. So the 5 of us came together as a team and we said we wanted to go into skincare. So we know $20 isn't much, but the 5 of us, it came up to 100. But we said, you know what? It's time to put some communication skills and some networking skills in play. Let's get some sponsorships. Let's get as much discounts as we can because essential oils and skincare products are not cheap. So we would have gone to places like Carlisle. We would have gone to Collins. We would have went to Jen's. We would have went to our churches and said, you know what, come and sponsor us. Everything we could think of just to make our money stretch and build our business.
How have you benefited as an individual by taking up this particular challenge and finding the ways to make it work?
For me, taking up the challenge it's been a journey that I enjoyed so far. I would have been on here already to promote the business for the last $20 challenge pop-up marketplace we would have had. I would have gone on to do judging. I would have co-hosted one of the event ceremonies. I'm happy that I took this initiative and joined the $20 challenge. And I encourage all the youth out there to also take the initiative, build your ideas, come up with some strategic plans, and you can be an entrepreneur. You can, instead of a 9-to-5, you can work your own hours and be your own businessman.
Must there be something special about you to be able to be successful in taking on these kinds of challenges?
For me, I'm very competitive. And I know I know we're in Barbados, but there are also persons out there already established. And we were now coming into this, so we had to go through some trial and error. We had to know our business plan. We had to know our products. So product knowledge was a main important thing. I think for me, since I know that the businesses, we definitely had to be competitive because we had to let persons know why invest in your product. Why should I buy your product? What makes your product different from the other products out there? So my competitiveness, being a risk taker, those played a major role.
What about you, Charles Brothers? Starting with you, Aiden, is there anything special that one has to have as a person to be successful in these kinds of challenges and establishing one's business?
You see, special, unique talents you would need. You definitely need to be able to pick up any kind of situation, ball, and roll with it, because really entrepreneurship will be always unpredictable. You can be able to sort of dictate what might happen, but it's not necessarily always going to be the case. You need to be able to understand, okay, so I have this and this, what can I do to make it go even further and beyond? You need amazing communication skills, which thankfully after doing this challenge, it helped me to develop that confidence to, expand on that horizon for me. Not only that, but the networking skill as well that was mentioned previously. I had really no idea how effective networking was before the $20 challenge compared to now, and I'm so thankful for it.
What about you, Aiden? Anything to add or to subtract?
Well, I have to agree with the competitiveness. The business world is so competitive, especially with everybody else coming up with similar ideas. You have to figure out a way how to take that idea and make it even better, as well as having confidence, be able to communicate with potential customers, and communication, not only communicating with customers, but also knowing how you can better communicate your product and how you can promote your product better so that you can reach a larger audience. And you also need to have determination, because you may have a plan and things may not go according to plan, but you need to learn how to take what you have now and turn it into something.
It's so. And so, Kyosha, there's going to be a pop-up market this Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it is going to be happening on Saturday?
Yes, please. On Saturday is our 5th annual pop-up. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's going to be approximately about 30 businesses expected to be there. So I encourage everyone to come and support the youth, all these students who have gone on board to take on this journey. So today we have approximately about 185 students and 19 schools who would have come on board with the challenge. So you're expected to see healthy options, skincare such as the scrubs, soap, lotion. You can also see some jewelry, some arts and craft. It's a wide variety that they offer on Saturday.
Where is it and what times?
Yes, please. It's going to be at Sky Mall. That's one of our sponsors every year. So it's going to be at Sky Mall from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
You're a student judge, Aiden. Let's talk a little bit about that. Are you judging this year as well?
I had been asked to participate in the judging as well. I'm not quite sure if my time schedule will be enough for it, but I definitely will be calling Celeste and asking her a little bit more about it.
Indeed. So listen, we are also immensely proud of each of you for doing so well in the $20 challenge, but in your respective industries as well. Because Kyosha, what is it that you do?
Currently, Smooth Sensations has been on hold due to different persons either going overseas or pursuing different degrees. So it's currently on hold. Never know, we might have a comeback. But currently, I am pursuing my ACCA and I work as an accounts payable clerk to date.
Busy as ever. And Aiden, what is it that you do?
In between me coming back home and everything from Barbados, I would help my family out with their respective businesses. Any way I could help to get them a little bit more up to date on certain things like tech is what I'm usually there for.
All right. And Edward?
Virgin Naturals, I have also taken a little bit of a hold due to school. But I'm definitely coming back soon and making more products. I actually plan on selling at some school events, but I'll be definitely branching out and continuing selling to the public.
Wonderful. So folks, this Saturday at the Sky Mall, the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation's $20 challenge, they're going to be having a pop-up showcase there. Quite a number of students from the 19 schools participating will be there. We want to encourage as many of you as possible to move through the mall and come explore and see what the young people have done with their $20, and they've taken up that challenge. Thank you so much for joining us today, the Charles brothers, Edward and Aiden, and Kyosha Lane as well, and all the best with your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank
You're welcome. We'll take a break here on Morning Barbados. When we come back, I'll have the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 1 minute now after 7 o'clock. In the news now, some 1,500 jobs could be created through Barbados and Rwanda, establishing links in a pharmaceutical agreement. Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley and the delegation returned home last evening, and she held a media conference at the Grantley Adams International Airport. She said Cave Hill graduates could find opportunities as they look at the production of cancer treatments and vaccines. There are several regulatory requirements which need to be put in place, but the work has started.
The biggest game changer since we have come to office is about to unfold. And we've been working on it very quietly for since April, so that's last 6 months or so. And that is addressing the issue of pharmaceutical equity and creating a platform for jobs, investment, and earnings for a pharmaceutical industry in Barbados for the first time. I'm not sure if people understand how complex it is to establish the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals. First and foremost, the regulatory framework is extremely complex, and that is the first thing that we will be engaged in over the course of the next 9 to 12 months or so. But without prejudice to that, through cooperation with Rwanda and President Kagame, with the European Union, and President von der Leyen herself came to the event, the European Investment Bank, President of the European Investment Bank himself, President Hoyer, came to the event, the President of Guyana, because Barbados and Guyana have to do it together. No single country can do it alone. In the case of Africa, it is Rwanda and Ghana doing it there, and the groundbreaking for them took place in June of this year. And of course, the Director General of the World Health Organization, whom we know well in Barbados now, Dr. Tedros, who has helped us out tremendously through the WHO in the last 2 years, and the head of the Susan Buffett Foundation, who is also interested in being able to assist us with respect to boosting our capacity to be able to manufacture pharmaceuticals.
Rwanda also offered ICT opportunities, and Foreign Minister Kerry Simmons spoke about opportunities for training young people at the Carnegie Mellon University.
Masters of Science programs where they are doing robotics, where they're doing coding, where they're doing artificial intelligence. As you just heard Prime Minister say, we have 6,000 graduates who come out of the University of the West Indies with science qualifications every 5 years. But again, we need now to translate that into concrete commercial opportunity, concrete economic development opportunity for these young people. And the arrangement that we are trying to put in place and have had meaningful discussion with the Carnegie Mellon University in Rwanda is to have Barbadian students being able to go up there in order to participate in the training at that campus so as to put themselves in a position where they can qualify in artificial intelligence and robotics and those kinds of studies.
In reporting the successes of the Conference of Parties 27, Prime Minister Motley said the climate financing negotiations were the most difficult ever. She said citizens have to realize that promises for climate financing have been made to the region for years, and that's why the Bridgetown Agreement is key.
There have been discussions on this issue of loss and damage since 2016 with the Paris Agreement. That is when small island states were promised, come on board with the agreement, you get loss and damage funds, among other things. You get $100 million in adaptation funds. Well, neither of the two developed. But in the meantime, we are facing the consequences of the crisis year by year by year. And therefore, the discussions in Egypt centered around that as it relates to the Bridgetown initiative specifically. And I really do hope that members of the media will take time not just to report that I speak about a Bridgetown initiative or that others will speak about it, but to educate Barbadians about it, because it is there. And people need to understand that, and I spoke to some of it in my Mandela speech on Saturday, that these are things that are going to make the difference, Wendy, to whether your boys are going to have an opportunity in this country to be able to do the things that the government would want for them to do. But if the government is spending all its money trying to recover from a hurricane or a flood every few months or a drought, there's going to be no money left back to do the other things that are part and parcel of the development process. And the Bridgetown Initiative is simply about recognizing that we need to resolve the financing issues, because without that, you can kiss it all goodbye.
Well, when quizzed about the possible sale of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, the Prime Minister said the sale or partnership in the station will not be kept a secret.
I haven't taken a brief on it. Suffice it to say that we put out expressions of interest twice since being in government. The first one led to nothing 2-3 years ago. We did it again a couple months ago. I think they're down to 2 bidders that they were in negotiations with. Because of the fact that it is a technical team negotiating, I'm not in a position to give you any statement as to where the negotiations are specifically or whether they've recommended anybody to the line ministry yet or not. But suffice it to say, this is one case where you can't sell it in private. This is a case, as my father reminded me many years ago, when I was a teenager, you can hide and buy land, but you can't hide and work it. So the sale will have to be made known to the country.
The findings of a public opinion survey on crime will be released this morning during a webinar hosted by the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit as part of its Crime Awareness Month activities. Criminologist Kim Ramsey is a senior researcher with the Planning Unit.
The public opinion survey gives the criminal justice officials a general idea of the views of the public, and these views are important in helping us to shape policy and develop programs. Tomorrow we're going to, coming out of the survey, we're going to look at issues like the fear of crime, the views on the death penalty, the measures that the public take to protect themselves from crime, their views on the crime fight, how they measure the work of the police and other criminal justice professionals, and more importantly, we're going to be looking at the recommendations on how to fight crime coming from both the public and as well as the recommendations from the Criminal Justice Department.
That webinar is at 10:30 this morning. That's it for today's news. At the moment, we'll have more news coming up at 12 noon on CBC Newsday. Morning Barbados continues in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning.
is on every Thursday in a community near you.
The community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next. And follow us on Facebook. Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's now 10 minutes after 7 o'clock. Still to come, a chance for you to know Barbados and win. Of course, you'll have a chance also to get your name into the next draw, which is happening on Monday. And good luck to each of you. Those of you who have already won, congratulations indeed. Great prizes on offer, so stand by for that coming up in just a little while. Also, NIFCA continues, and we're looking at those murals and all of those kinds of things. There was a recent workshop on that. We'll talk about that with one of the cultural officers there in just a little bit as well. But let's turn our attention now to talking with HERMAB. We're talking HR with HERMAB, looking at the whole question of data protection. And you're thinking, data protection, yes. And then what's the role of HR in data protection? Joining us this morning to look at this subject is Shane Howell, who is a human resource strategy consultant. He's also the past president of HERMAB. And Rishi Maharaj, who is the managing director and principal consultant of Privacy Advisory Services out of Trinidad and Tobago. To you, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us. Rishi, I'm going to start with you, since this is seemingly one of the areas of which you are employed every day. Privacy Advisory Services. And let's look at data protection within the workforce. How critical do you see that is?
Well, good morning, and thank you very much for having me on the program. Data protection is critical because of the kinds of data that HR normally deals with on a day-to-day basis. If you think about your HR in any organization, they collect a lot of personal data on you, as well as a lot of sensitive data on you and your dependents, depending on the type of organization you're working with. And because data protection gives citizens and gives individuals rights over their personal data and how that data is used, as well as creates obligations for organizations in the way they collect, use, disseminate, share, and eventually get rid of the data, then data protection really does have a major impact on the HR functions in any organization.
In other words, they have all my business on paper, and so we want to make sure, yes, you want to make sure that it's kept securely and it's not just open for anyone's eyes to pry. And so, from your experience in Trinidad, what are some of the protections that have been put in place to ensure that in the workforce as well, that data is protected?
Right, so data protection normally talks about if you're going to collect data from individuals, you need to be transparent. You need to let them know, normally in a privacy statement or some kind of documentation, what data you're collecting on them, why you need the data, what you're going to use the data for, who parties that you may share the data with, and then how you're going to protect the data at the end of the day. Then the other parts of it would be that once you've collected the data, you could only use the data for the purpose that you've collected it for, and you cannot use it for anything other than why you collected the information. You need to have proper security controls. A lot of HR right now works electronically, so you need to have proper security controls on your systems that you use the data for. You need to understand who accesses the data, because not any and everybody needs to see everything or needs to see everything on you. So who has access to the data? How you store the data is also critical now, because we live in a world with cyber incidents and cyber crimes. So ensuring that you have proper encryption and protection in place on storing the data. And then at the end of the day, how you get rid of the data. And when I mean data, I don't only mean electronic formats. Data protection is technology neutral. So even hard copy files, paper files, electronics, you need to understand exactly how you use your data on a day-to-day basis and ensure that at the end of the day, if you need to get rid of the data, delete it, shred it, or whatever, that you have proper controls in place to begin to get rid of the data.
Shane, from your perspective here working with HERMAB, are HR practitioners in Barbados actively following some of the things that Rishi just spoke about?
So I think that naturally, some elements of it we've kind of done, or through the natural evolution of the process. So, for example, Rishi would have made mention of the fact that a lot of HR information now is held electronically. That is in our HRISs, which is pretty much the HR information system. Now, by nature, those systems tend to be vetted and approved by IT, etc. And there's protection around those systems, both from the side of the provider, but also from the side of the company that is using the particular software. So there are firewalls and other security features, which by default are protecting, as they would say in the act, the data subjects, that is the employees. So yes, I would say that to an extent. However, there are gaps with respect to both on the hard copy and maybe soft copy side. And I think one of the areas that we would have to look at would be who has access to which pieces of information. So in some cases, there are tiers. A company may already have it set up that, the HR manager can see this, but an assistant sees that, but the payroll person sees only this particular piece. But in some other systems, it may be a situation where it's kind of once you are in that HR space, you may have access to everything. And the Data Protection Act is now saying that, it may be best to determine who has what level of rights and level of access. So I do think that there are definitely a few steps. I think one of the other critical ones, and one I think everyone can relate to, we've all gone through the process of applying for a job at a company, not getting that job, and receiving the letter that we all dread, which states, unfortunately on this occasion you were not successful, but we will keep your
on file,
your application on file, in the event of future vacancies and so on. And we really don't know how long that company is keeping it, where they're keeping it, or anything to that effect. I know with respect to the Data Protection Act, what it is essentially alluding to, and I don't want to speak in a very prescriptive manner, but what it's pretty much alluding to is that company really and truthfully doesn't need to keep that information beyond a certain time unless they're satisfied that a vacancy is likely to come up and you are likely to be a candidate, rather than just keeping the information there on record, keeping all of your personal data there on record for an indefinite period of time. So even something like that, I think, is a departure, because while some companies may be discarding that information, honestly, some persons may be keeping it there for easy access, should something else pop up. So there are definitely a few areas that we'll have to tighten up on as we take the act into consideration.
Who drives the process, the HR manager, or is it just an overall organizational policy?
I think ultimately, well, it depends on the organization. I believe that we all appreciate that in Barbados, our economy is primarily built around small and medium-sized enterprises, many of which would not have an HR practitioner in-house. They may have a consultant, or it might be the responsibility of the CEO or the operations manager, or whatever the case may be. So ultimately, the owner or the head of the organization will have that ultimate accountability, and they will need to determine who has that, who they're kind of delegating that responsibility to manage the process. But where there is an HR department as the natural custodian of that information, and managing the rights of employees and so on, I think in those organizations the HR person will naturally kind of lead that charge. But the managing director, CEO, whoever, because they have ultimate accountability, I think they need to ensure that these things are done.
One of the things that's been changing a lot, and perhaps Rishi, you can blend from your experience as well, a lot in businesses today, you have cameras, everything is being tracked. Everything is being tracked. Technology has invaded our spaces to the point where you feel as though, the eyes are constantly on you. How do you ensure that data protection is also in the interest of the individual, and they're not feeling in any way, traumatized by an invasion?
Yeah, you're correct. Because I mean, we now live in a surveillance society where everything you're being looked at and you're being seen. And again, data protection defines personal data in a very broad sense. So it's any kind of information that could either A, directly identify you, or information combined with any other pieces of information that could identify you. So even in like electronic space, your IP address, your browser settings, all those different things that could, if combined with other pieces of information, really affect you. So and that's where we now have, again, data protection talks about organizations having proper procedures and policies in place to guide these things. CCTV cameras, yes, they have a purpose. The purpose is for security point of view. If anything happens, you can always go back and see what went on and assist in providing some sense of security. But again, it goes back to the question of, okay, what data are we collecting? How long do we keep this information for on record? Do we have an information policy, a data protection policy? Do we have a retention policy that says how long we keep information for on the whole, be it HR files, CCTV cameras, or whatever? And you should also have on hand some kind of statement, because again, the law gives citizens the right to ask questions. So now I have the right to say, listen, I know this, you have CC cameras here. What is your policy with regards to that? So I could know exactly what information you're collecting, how long you keep the information for, and those different things. And even from an HR perspective, with a lot of people now working from home, we now have organizations. Some organizations are now saying that you may have tracking devices or other devices on your PC, on your laptop, whatever you're using, to begin to track your work, right? And how long should that be on? What kind of information are they collecting on you besides just your normal information? So, I mean, the whole question of invasion of privacy, your constitutional right to privacy, and balancing that with, the rights of the organizations to do their job and to provide whatever service they're providing to their customers and to provide whatever service they're providing to you. So it's a unique balance that organizations need to look at and see and balance with regards to what data they collect, how they use the data, and then, data protection, more or less, I always like to say, it sets the boundaries. It doesn't say that you cannot do these things, but it says that these are the boundaries you need to be aware of and work within to allow you to do whatever function you need to do, but within whatever the constraints of the law and the Constitution allows in terms of individuals' information, individuals' privacy.
That's right. And Shane, because individuals have rights as well, while the organization feels that it needs to also to protect its interest, the individual has interests that also need to be protected. And that individual is the one who has to agree. So talk to me a little bit, Shane, about the move now by HERMAB to ensure that across the island, HR practitioners are operating almost at the same level with respect to data protection.
Well, traditionally, whenever there's a new piece of legislation in any form, so this goes back to the ERA, modifications to the Holidays with Pay Act, the sexual harassment and discrimination legislation, occupational health and safety. Anytime there's a new piece of legislation, HERMAB normally works very closely with the respective ministry, normally the Ministry of Labor, to ensure that we have sensitization sessions for our members and also for members of the general public. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, we acknowledge that all companies do not have HR persons, and we have a shared kind of accountability to both the employer but also to the employee. So we just want to make sure that the public, all employees, are in a position where their rights are being respected, but companies can do what they need to do. So we have sensitization sessions. We partner with the respective ministry or institution to have training sessions and educational sessions. Because we are this legislation is kind of in its infancy, and I know that we're still setting up the frameworks and so on to be able to properly monitor and enforce the legislation. So to my knowledge, I don't believe that HERMAB has been able to establish that relationship to have those sessions. Mm-hmm. But that is something that will definitely be coming into fruition as soon as those pieces are in place. So that will be one of the major things that we will be doing, which is to educate our membership and educate persons who have a vested interest.
All right. We've got to leave it there, gentlemen, but thank you so much for engaging me this morning on this very critical subject of data protection and the role of HR in ensuring that everyone's interests are protected. Thank you, Rishi Maharaj, who is the Managing Director and Principal Consultant with Privacy Advisory Services in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, our good friend, Shane Howell, Human Resources Strategy Consultant and past President of HERMAP. I always say, membership comes with benefits, so join HERMAP today. hermab.org.bb, the website. Go check it out. Thank you, gentlemen. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll take a break here on Morning Barbados. When we come back, I'll see how much you know Barbados, how well you do. You get a chance to get your name in the box. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
When disaster threatens, it is comforting to know there's a team working to deliver credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. A team that is committed to serving you. A team that will be there before, during, and after the disaster. That is Team CBC, here for you this hurricane season.
This week on the CBC Independence Film Festival.
This Star Bajan, we proudly present Light, Lenses, Lasting Impressions, a Ronnie Carrington retrospective.
Saturday from 9:03 p.m. So get your snacks and settle into a comfy chair for the CBC Independence Film Festival.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
29 after 7 o'clock now. Time to know Barbados and win. Time for you to give me a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563. I'll share with you a picture. Your task is to identify the location. When you do correctly, we'll take your name and your contact details and get your name into the box for Monday's draw to win some fantastic prizes. So are you ready to see today's picture? I think I am. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Thanks to our partners, Purity Bakeries, the Barbados Beach Club, Seabreeze House, Aqua Spa, Oro Restaurant, Ross Trevor Hotel and Golden Sands Hotel. Let's share today's picture. Tell me, where is this? Where is it? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Where is this? Take your time. Don't rush it. Where is it? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Look very, very carefully. Where in Barbados is this image? And it's somewhere about here. And I'm sure you know it too. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Where is this? Tell me right now and get a chance to get your name into the box for the draw on Monday. Morning, hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, morning. Your first name, please, and what parish are you watching from?
My name is Deandra, and I'm watching from St. Andrew.
Deandra of St. Andrew. Deandra, where is this?
This looks like the BRC roundabout in St. Thomas by the meat shop.
Mm-hmm. The BRC roundabout in St. Thomas near to the meat shop?
Yes, please.
So that's after you left Warren's and you're making your way up that way. Okay.
Correct.
Are you convinced this is where it could possibly be?
Yes, it is. Yes.
No, you're saying you what? You what?
I'm convinced. I know it.
You're sure, Deandra?
Positive.
You're surely wrong or surely right?
Surely right.
Surely wrong. Surely wrong, Deandra.
Oh my. All right then.
That's all right. Thank you for trying, Deandra. She's a good girl, wasn't she? She jumped me for a second, boy. She jumped me. Didn't she jump you guys in the production booth? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Come. Tell me where this is. Where this is. Good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. That's not the best way to speak. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Quickly. Tell me, where in Barbados do you think this is? I'm sure you may have driven past it, walked past it, stopped and looked at it for just a moment, and then you're there now scratching your head trying to figure out, where was it that I saw this again? Where was it? I know it. Good morning. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Your first name and the parish you're watching from?
My name is Lee, and I'm watching from Christchurch.
Christchurch. Yes, Lee. So, Lee, tell me, where in Barbados is this? Come, Lee, talk to me. Don't listen to the TV. Talk to me on the phone.
YMCA.
You think it's the YMCA?
Bridgetown.
No, Lee, that's not it. That's not it at all. But thanks for trying, Lee of Christchurch, indeed. 228-55. You'll take one more. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Quickly call me. Tell me, where do you think this is? Where do you think this is? Where? Yes, we're searching. We're searching. Pull your magnifying glass out and let's see if you can figure it out. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, morning. First name and the parish you're watching from?
I'm Trevor.
Hello, Trevor of?
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas. Trevor, where is this?
This in Jackson there by the roundabout there coming from Cambridge Road down. And it's near Michael Watson meat shop, right on the turn there.
You are absolutely certain that this that you're seeing on your screen is the one that is on Michael who?
Near the meat
Michael
shop.
Watts meat shop?
Yeah.
You are sure?
Yes, it is that.
Take a picture and send it to me, because that's not it.
Take it?
Take a picture when you get a chance and send it to me, because that is not it.
It's not it?
No. But
right,
take the picture. Take the picture. Seriously, take the picture you have and send it to Mornin Barbados at cbc.bb. We want to see for ourselves what it is that you see. Okay? All right, good man. Let's take one more call. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Time to rise and shine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. What's your first name and the parish you're watching from?
Tiashana and St. James.
Hello, Keishana of St. James. Keishana, where in Barbados do you think this is?
Yui.
You tell me where in UE.
On the wall, like when you're driving down, coming from Warren.
Uh-huh. So,
And it's right
the Arrow Center or on the left-hand side? There by the 3Ws Oval?
Yes, close there.
Are you sure this is what you see when you pass by the 3Ws Oval?
Yes, I am sure.
Positive, positive, positive?
Positive.
Take a picture of it and send it to me. Okay?
Okay.
Because you're wrong. But take a picture and send it to us at morningbarbados@cbc.b. I'm serious. Serious. Take a picture of what you see there at the meat shop and at UE, and let's see how it compares. Let's see if it's the same thing you're talking about, because it is the same thing I have there. Let's see. So what do I do? We want to thank our partners in the Purity Bakeries, Barbados Beach Club, Seabreeze House, Aqua Spa, Oro Restaurant, Ross River Hotel and Golden Sands Hotel. We'll try again tomorrow if it be God's will. Come on, work it out. We'll take a break here. We're coming back in just a minute.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
24 minutes now to 8 o'clock. NIFCA continues. NIFCA is for you and it's for me indeed. And so Rodney Eiffel, who's the Cultural Officer for Visual Arts, joins us this morning because NIFCA is on even in the expression in murals. Good morning to you, Rodney.
Yes, good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados. Yeah, I saw a wonderful mural there at the Jackson Roundabout.
Don't tell them. Don't say anything. We're going to have to come and get you here. Don't say a word. You saw a wonderful mural, right?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Right. And it's those expressions of art that we're talking about right now. So talk to me about how NIFCA this year is going to be expressing itself through murals.
Yeah, sorry for letting the cat out of the bag there. But this year we had a number of things going and continuing with what we would have developed last year during our first year to mark our first year as a Republic nation. And we are happy to announce that we did some wonderful activities in the form of a mural workshop. We are actively doing mural upkeep, and we are actually going to execute 4 mural projects that are very solid during the month of November. And it'll be very exciting to see as you see artists working on these various spaces. We would encourage the public to go out and see. So the first activity we had this year was a mural workshop during the middle of October 14th, 15th. We started out with that, and we had a lead artist, Mr. Neville Legault, assistant artist, Mr. Don Small, and Miss Alicia Cobbs from Connecticut in the United States, doing a wonderful exchange, a wonderful cross-cultural collaboration in terms of looking at all the aspects of mural production. And I must say it was really fully subscribed, 40 registrations online, but 22 actual persons physically coming out to partake in the mural activity, and I don't think that they would have regretted at all. We also had follow-up interest from the Barbados Community College, which I'm working with their visual arts department to see, because they expressed interest. And the good thing about this mural workshop is that Miss Cobb, bearing her overseas experience and international experience, really worked well with the veterans here, Mr. Legault and Mr. Small, in terms of presenting all the aspects associated with murals, from the concept how you market yourself as a mural artist, the various conservational aspects associated with preserving murals, especially in the environment we work in, because you know the sun is very, very warm here. Yeah, there's the great trio, and that is the workshop we had over the weekend in October 14th and 15th, and they're looking at, you know, the sun, you know, over 30,000 LUTs we are exposed to here. It's very, very, very bright star we have there. So you have to know how to, in this part of the world, the Caribbean, protect your mural when you finish execute it. There are the concepts that we were looking at. Some people got together and did like various themes. There were 3 groups that they broke out into, looked at the concepts. Everybody had their avatar, as you see a wonderful one there. And they came up with 3 distinct concepts in the groups. And the good thing about it is that you looked at how most people wanted to get into the crux of the practical, especially how you would move from a small concept like that you would see in various renderings and depictions on a small scale, and then move it to a larger scale in terms of scaling up your murals. So they looked at 2 key aspects in terms of using projectors, and you know nowadays projectors are very, very, very affordable. You can get them from various locations on the island, various hardware stores, and you can then size up your work in terms of projecting it onto a wall, any other place or any other ground that you want to work from. Then there's also the traditional way of gridding your mural, in terms of marking some grid lines into your mural as if you were doing a graph, and then transferring that onto a large wall space. So the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, because some people always probably used to wonder how you would get these fantastic expressions of visual arts, beautifully so, on walls and other spaces around the island. So
Rodney, I'm going to rush the brush because time is a little quick. I'm running very short of me here. And so you said there are 4 spaces. There are 4 spaces now that this month we can interact with. Quickly, just let us know where those 4 spaces are.
Right. Quickly, so we are doing a really fantastic community-based project with Sergeant Goddard, Station Sergeant Goddard at Crafthill Police Station. And you know St. Lucie is your place. There's a beautiful wall over there, a big wall, that we're going to use a section there to work with Mr. Phillips, Mr. Goddard, and some other persons. We want to really feed into the community of Crafthill and those surrounding communities, and work with talents there to truly fulfill a community-based project that will explore found materials and found objects and things of that nature in terms of environmentally sustainable and friendly elements to apply to the wall as well in terms of the concepts. Then we would have there, we met with also, because the concept brief was to encourage all aspects that shape Barbadian culture, so we reached out to the Asian, East Indian communities, European, African communities, and we had 4 solid responses. So we had also working with Mr. Sabir Ndakuda and Mr. Solomon Bubulia, and the president also of the Sundi Association, Mr. Mukesh Shangani, I hope I called his name right, and Mr. Hashim Delia, that provided a wall space at Painful Street there by Pro Sales Inc. We are working on them, and Mr. Rashid Boudou is the lead artist for that in terms of looking to do a wall that represents their culture and cultural aspects in terms of the contribution to the East Indian aspect in Barbados there in terms of that concept. And our Jefferson Foltz was identified as the lead artist for the Crab Hill project. And then we are going to start with Mr. Vaughn and Shane Eastman, very talented gentlemen again, working on a really big scale music mural project. They call it the Grand Mural Project. There's the one at Crab Hill you see there in the image. And then the talented trio, San Trio of brothers, Nikolai Charles, Sergio Charles, etc. They are going to be doing in St. Philip, near the St. Philip Polyclinic location, a mural entitled Spirit of BIM. So there are 4 exciting projects gearing to start up here very soon. All the concepts are in, etc., and we are pretty much ready to go.
All right. Well, it sounds really fantastic, Roddy. I know you'll keep us posted, indeed, on all of this, but all the best with this as NIFCA continues to unfold in the community with these community projects, indeed murals. So as you move through, take some time to absorb what you see. Don't just drive past. Take some time to interact with the art in the community as well. Much more to come. Thank you so much, Rodney, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, too.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Barbados.
Good to see you, my friend.
Have a good day.
Rodney Eichel, the Cultural Officer for Visual Arts with the National Cultural Foundation. Now you know where those murals are. Now you know where to go to engage with them. We'll take a break here. We're coming back in a minute.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? then Morning Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
16 now to 8 o'clock. When you bring these two alumni together, you're getting greatness indeed. Harrison College and Queen's College have once again teamed up. That's because in a few weeks' time, they're having their education conference. It sounds big, doesn't it? It's because it is big. Let's take a look at what it is all about. Joining us this morning is the president of the Queen's College Association. He's also the form head at Harrison College, indeed in the sixth form. That's Carl Applewhite, and Catherine Daniel is, of course, a member of the Queen's College Association. She's also a member of the Education Conference Committee. Both of you, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I like what you're doing coming up on 2 days in early December. Let's put it into context. Why are you doing it? Start with you, Carl. Why is this education conference being held?
I think from the perspective of both schools, certainly and the alumni from the institutions, we see that there is a need to contribute to the transformation of education in Barbados, and this is something that the Prime Minister has said, the Minister of Education has said, but certainly we don't want to just sit back, observe, and contribute to that complaint, so to speak, but we want to be active in terms of getting solutions to the various problems that we may be facing across the education system. One of the ways in which we can do that is to bring numerous stakeholders together so we can hear the voices, hear the issues, the concerns, and then we can treat to those issues, at least from our alumni perspective, and share that across the education sector for sure. So the student participation is integral to having this voice and to having this level of engagement as it pertains to education.
And that's an element of the conference that I'm pretty excited about, the fact that you're hearing from the students themselves. Oftentimes you get the technocrats, the teachers, the administrators are the ones who are talking, and they're the ones who think they have all the ideas. But now you're hearing from the students just what it is. And so you're hoping out of this to be able to do what?
Out of this, certainly we want to hear what the youth, the persons who are experiencing it, as you rightfully said just now, the persons who are experiencing it and are beneficiaries of education in Barbados at the present moment, if there are any deficiencies or deficits which they think should be filled by the policymakers, and that would better help policymakers to shape or to produce a framework through which we go forward, or the island goes forward, if it relates to things like the curricula, the experience they have at school, those issues. We are looking to the future. So it's not only about the curricula as it stands now, but certainly what should be included in the future, what is required to, as Prime Minister Motley often refers, to gain active citizenship among our society as we go forward. Because these persons, it sounds cliche, the youth are the future. They have to own it. They have to decide how it is they want their society to look so that they get the best out of it. And if they get the best out of the society, certainly it redounds to the benefit of all Barbadians.
And it is certainly coming at a critical time when all Barbadians are discussing what are we as a republic, what will we be for the future as well. And so, Catherine, break down this two-day conference, education conference. How does it work?
Well, on Friday, December 2nd, that we'll get the dates. It's Friday, December 2nd and Saturday, December 3rd. Both days, it's from 9:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. Barbados time. And this will involve the students, the teachers, educators in general, academics, policymakers, and the general public, because all of this involves Barbados as a society. So we want to hear from the voices of the youth. The Queen's College students will speak on the topic of society, the economy, and education. How do we prepare? I'm really looking forward to that because, as Carl had mentioned, it's going to be interesting to hear what the young people have to say. They've got a very different viewpoint. So I'm particularly excited about that. Harrison College
will also be speaking. Their students will be presenting, rather, on present and future educational curricula. So there's that, but there's a lot more. We have some special speakers, some invitees, including Professor Cardinal Ward of MIT and Professor Janice Fumilier, I hope I have her name right, of Georgia State University. So we've got panels of experts to speak on emerging careers, things like the gig economy, animation, entrepreneurship. So we really are looking to the future. What can we do today to more adequately prepare our children, our students, for the future?
And you've structured it in such a way that there's a hybrid. So let's explain how that happens for people.
Yes. On Friday, it will be, well, as you said, there'll be people from overseas presenting, but the students will be in person. And on Saturday, as I understand it, this will also be virtual.
So anyone can attend. Go ahead, Carl.
Yes. Carl, please. Yes, Carl might have more information than me.
That's all right.
Just to add to that, Pearson, on Friday, although we're having a physical presentation, what we're allowing for to participate virtually. As we said, although we have presenters from the diaspora, and we want persons from the diaspora to also have the opportunity to contribute. So although we are having it physically on Friday, we are having persons register so they can participate, not just watch, but participate virtually. And then Saturday will be a completely virtual aspect of the conference.
All right. Registration, you just used the word. How can folks register?
I think we need to go to the website. I don't have the link right now. I'm sorry to say.
I think it's HCQC alumni something. My production crew is going to help me where that's concerned as well. But the website is there for people to really to log in and to be a part of it indeed. And as soon as we get it, we'll share with them. But for sure, it's happening on the 2nd and the 3rd of December. It's online, so once you get the registration, you get the link to see where it is happening online. There'll be some in-person presentations on the Friday. Students will be there, and so you're appealing now to a wider society, not just to the technocrats, to be a part and to come and ask questions, to engage, to help shape the new look of education and the kinds of things that need to be included into our curriculum. And so this is
not just to ask questions, but to listen to the students.
Absolutely.
Because when I was at college, that was back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, that was the beginning of the desktop publishing era. When I left Barbados to go to Canada to study, being a graphic designer meant you were using a pen and rulers and other things. You had a stat camera. While I was at school, at what was then Ontario College of Art, the desktop publishing revolution hit the world. Apple came out with these desktop computers, and things changed, and they've never gone back. So we need to be able to prepare our students for this.
Indeed so. The website for registration is hcqcalumninetwork.org, hcqcalumninetwork.org, or that's for registration, or you can send an email to 2020hcqcgathering@gmail.com, and you get more details there. We have to leave it right there, but I wish you the very best. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. This includes all of us as well. Indeed, it's happening on the 2nd and 3rd of December, and we can't wait to hear more out of this. Thank you so much, Carl and Catherine. All the best indeed.
Thank you very much, Pearson.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Morning Barbados takes a break. When we come back, we're looking at that upcoming Pan-African conference.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
The community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the community.
Stay tuned to Q100.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
With just 6 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock, this is going to be so exciting because next year, 2023, is a great year for the Pan-African Conference. Joining us now this morning to talk about it is Her Excellency Ambassador Arikana Chiambori Kwao. I hope I pronounced that right. I pray that I did. And certainly joining her also this morning is Philip Catlin Springer, who is the chairman of the Barbados chapter. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Ambassador, could you say your name for me?
Actually, you said it perfectly.
Oh, thank
Arikana. Wow, you did very well.
Thank you so much. Now, your life is so storied. You are quite competent. You are the founder and president of the African Diaspora Development Institute, out of which you do such great work across the globe. Let's talk a little bit about the work you do.
Yes, African Diaspora Development Institute is an entity that I created after leaving my post as the African Union Ambassador to the United States. The work that I started at the mission, I felt that if I did not continue, it would also end with my tenure. And so the mission of the organization is to mobilize all people of African descent around the world to participate in the development of Africa. We focus on information, re-education, and information stating truth to power and facts about who we are, and also underscoring, above all, about the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization and how they continue to impact our daily lives to this day.
And so you've been all over the diaspora, really connecting with people of African descent to bring us all back to our truth, to bring us back to our place of power, really. And so this Pan-African Conference happening next year in Zimbabwe, talk to me about the importance of it within that context.
Yes, allow me to just remind every one of our listeners that this is a conversation that has been going on way back in the early 1900s, starting with the likes of Garvey, the W.E.B. Du Bois, the cries of the children of Africa, descendants of the formerly enslaved. They have been longing to go back home to Africa for centuries. So the first Pan-African Congress was held in London. To date, the UK sponsored two PACs in London, one in Manchester. France sponsored one, United States sponsored one in New York City. And the sixth Pan-African Congress was the first one to be held on the African soil, sponsored by President Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. This was held in Dar es Salaam. The seventh was sponsored by President Museveni of Uganda in 1994, 20 years later. Attempted Pan-African Congress 8 were made in South Africa in 2012 and Ghana in 2015. Both were nullified. So we're looking at a situation where the conversation for the descendants of the formerly enslaved to come back home to Africa, to reconnect with Africa, have been going on for far too long. And conference after conference, there has been no deliverable results. We are saying that has got to come to an end. Mm-hmm. In Zimbabwe, we are going to have Pan-African Congress number 8. And this particular conference is going to have results. We are going to focus on issues to do with one, pathway to citizenship. Descendants of the formerly enslaved must be free to go and live in Africa if they choose to go and be a dual citizen of an African country if they choose to. Secondly, the establishment of the 6th region. The African Union has now classified all people of African descent living outside Africa as the 6th region. As such, we also demand a headquarters, which I hope will be in Barbados, just like ECOWAS has a headquarters in West Africa. SADC, which are the Southern African countries, have their own headquarters. the East African Community, Central Africa, and North Africa. Those are the other 5 regions of Africa. They all have their headquarters. As such, we as the 6th region, we too must have our own headquarters, which is set up much like the other 5 regions of Africa. And thirdly, we're going to focus on saying what's in Africa belongs to the children of Africa at home and abroad. So all contracts deemed international, priority, first right of refusal must be given to the African diaspora, who are all people of African descent living outside Africa. The Chinese do not give priority to non-Chinese. The European nations do not give priority to non-European nation members. We are the only ones as Africans that look outside when it comes to developing and building the Africa that we want. That has got to change. We can't say we blame our leaders. We as the diaspora, we also have not been organized. But we are organizing now. We are becoming a formidable force professionally and financially. We are going back to our leaders in Africa and saying, we are now organized. No more excuses. The building of the Africa we want is our responsibility. Others can no longer continue to siphon and benefit out of Africa when we, the inheritors, the owners of Africa's wealth, are being sidelined. So priority, preferential treatment when it comes to investing in Africa, getting contracts to build Africa we want. That's what we're going to be focusing on, those 3 issues.
That is such a powerful statement from you, and it's such a powerful purpose indeed to meet in Zimbabwe in 2023. You know, Philip, I wish I had the time, but Philip, here's what we're going to do, Philip. My producer will connect with you because we want to hear from the Barbados chapter how we're going to be mobilizing Barbadians to be a part of it. Indeed. So I do apologize that we didn't get a chance to get to you, but we really wanted to hear from Her Excellency this morning because the power that she's speaking to truth right there is a power we need to hear. I want to thank both of you so much for joining us this morning. It is a conversation to be continued, and certainly in continuing it, we will continue to heighten awareness about the upcoming 2023 conference. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We do look forward to seeing you again, if it be God's will, tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.